When we talk about attack, I mean, we have a little bit been going into your way of thinking about security and basically having access to assets instead of using it by a private key. One of the things that Circuit has developed is the automatic asset extraction, which is something new. And for the audience that is listening, what is it? Can you walk us through it?
Yep. So automatic asset extraction is the engine ultimately that Circuit's platform is built on top of. And what we do is we, as mentioned, focus on the assets, not private keys. And so we create, store, and manage pre-signed transactions, these pre-approved blockchain instructions that allow us to move funds to a preset destination at a later date. And so an analogy I like to use, and I think I used it on a previous podcast, is that every time you want to give a letter to the blockchain, you need to stamp it. So imagine you have a big stamp, it puts a specific stamp for you, and then the blockchain will take a look at it and say, okay, great, the right stamp is there, I'm going to send it and move it off to somewhere else. The private key is like your stamp, that if you stamp it, it'll say, okay, this is the right stamp, we can move it off. If you lose the stamp, there's nothing you can do. You're not able to send letters, and so no funds will be able to be sent. What Circuit does is we create all these pre-stamped letters. We're creating all these letters which have been pre-signed, pre-approved, to allow us to send them and to have them accepted by the blockchain at a later point in time, and without you having to worry that they're going to go somewhere they're not supposed to go. So think of it like the destination is already written on the letter, and Circuit can't change it. And this is exciting because it almost makes it idiot-proof in a sense, is that you don't have to worry that we're going to take your funds or move them somewhere they're not supposed to go or do anything with them. If Circuit tries to alter it, it's just not going to be accepted by the blockchain. They're going to say, no, we can't accept this, it's been tampered with, and not approved. And so instead of having to entrust your private key to a third party or entrust key shards to a third party, all you're doing is just giving us these instructions which we can hold and encrypt and store for you to be used at a later point in time. And so the different applications for automatic asset extraction is the first one, the manual version. Think of it almost like a red button. If you're a fund manager, what's one of the worst things that could happen is that your funds get trapped, that you lose access to them and you can't do anything. Circuit gives you the red button you can press to always get your funds out, so you don't have to worry about someone taking access to them or you losing the ability to move your funds. And a great example of that is during Terra Luna, I knew an asset manager who was using a major wallet provider and it froze. And he was basically frantically pressing the button and trying to withdraw his funds, and it wasn't working. There was rate limits, the wallet provider wasn't responding, and he basically watched his entire fund go down to zero without being able to take any action. And so that's almost a perfect example where the red button would just enable you to always get your assets out. Even if the provider isn't responding, even if the custodian isn't working, even if you've lost access, you always have the ability to recover your funds. So that's application one. The second application is automatic, is that in crypto, attacks can happen in as little as 4 seconds, basically start to finish. Humans can't respond to that. You know, me and you sitting here, we're going to get a notification. Maybe we're on the toilet, maybe we're at dinner. We're not going to see it in time. And particularly when we talked about the multi-sig wallets or the MPC wallets, there's not just going to be one person, there's going to be multiple people. And so every time you have more people involved, there's an additional communication barrier, there's an additional latency barrier, and it just means that the response window just increases. And because attacks are happening so quickly, it's almost effectively impossible in certain cases for humans to respond. And so what we've built is the ability to not just press the red button, but to be able to do so automatically. That you can automatically sweep the funds to a backup wallet in the event that an attack is detected without having to coordinate people in time. So because attackers are moving at machine speed, this allows the defense to move at machine speed as well. And so those are the initial two applications that we've built, is that we have the ability to help you if you've lost access. So if you've lost your private key, you've lost credentials, wallet provider's gone down, you can manually press the buttons, extract all the funds, or you have the ability to automatically do it. That either you can use an external signal that says, hey, a hack is happening, or we have some signals ourselves which would enable us to say, hey, this is something you should look at, to then automatically move those funds to safety before the attacker is able to get to them. The analogy I like to use is imagine your wallet provider, your custodian, is like a vault. And you keep your crypto in a vault, and it's great. It's a very safe, secure vault. But what happens if you lose the key to the vault? Well, the vault's going to be locked, and you're not going to be able to get into it. It's such a good vault. So you're kind of stuck. And the second is, what if someone steals the password or steals the key to the vault? Well, they'll just walk up to the vault, open it, walk in, take all the funds and walk out. And because it's digital, it just happens instantly. And so what Circuit is almost is like inside the vault. If you've watched Mission Impossible, it's like all these red lasers which are crisscrossing inside the vault. And if someone walks in without authorization, it triggers it. And then an escape hatch opens up underneath the funds, moves the funds to a different backup vault, and they're safe and secure in there. And so the attackers walked in, but there's no funds left. And so it adds this additional security on top of your custodian or your wallet, which wasn't previously there, and means you don't have to replace your custodian or your wallet. So that's a big point of friction we see with institutions, that ultimately they're not going to rip out their entire infrastructure and start again from scratch. Too much hassle. So we've met them where they are, and we can add this on top of whatever existing infrastructure they're using, but it adds additional safety and security and makes it easier and more possible for them to both, one, have peace of mind, but two, insure those assets. And so insurance is something which, I'll stop now because I've been talking a little bit, but we spent a lot of time working with and have a lot of knowledge on that I'm happy to expand on. But TLDR, it's very expensive, it's very difficult to get. Circuit makes it cheaper and easier to get with Lloyd's of London insurers.
Well, I mean, I've been taking notes, so I'm happy to ask some more questions on this particular subject, which I think a lot of people will have asked questions themselves. Earlier, you were mentioning that hacks are so fast that we as humans cannot really respond to it. So let's use that as an example. You have security with Circuit. There's a hack taking place. They try to transfer the funds, but you would like to push the red button. How does it work when a hack is taking place and you're not fast enough? How is Circuit preventing you from losing the assets?
When you say you are not fast enough, as in the human, or as
a human, yeah.
As a human. So what Circuit enables is for you to set up automatic triggers to move those funds. So without a human having to be in the loop, you can say if certain conditions are met, so if this happens and this happens, or if this happens, Circuit will automatically move the funds to the backup destination. So with our new product, there's certain criteria we've looked at which we think are very, very important for detecting hacks from wallets, which we'll be announcing relatively shortly. But think about it more generally as there's certain things or certain characteristics of lots of different hacks. Let's say an example is that a wallet which only sends small amounts every day now sends an enormous transfer all at once. That's anomalous. That's an anomalous pattern. Or another would be that a wallet is sending to certain addresses all the time, but suddenly starts sending to a new address which had never been seen before, and starts trying to send a large amount. Or another example would be if it's a on-chain wallet or a non-smart contract, that another smart contract gets deployed which points at that other smart contract. And so it's like, okay, is this potentially malicious? There are certain things you can pick up ahead of time, and there's providers like Hypernative and Cybers and Hexagate and others whose full-time role is just to focus on being able to detect and alert you to these situations. What Circuit can do is Circuit can connect ultimately to the detection. Circuit provides automatic response, which we've seen as one of the missing pieces, that we can automatically respond to the detection of these alerts and use that to move funds to safety. So imagine you say, hey, there's an alert. And instead of the alert saying, hey, you should check this out, take a look, someone's trying to steal it, it's move the funds to safety and then figure out what's happening. And that's what Circuit enables, is that without having to have a human in the loop, you can set up ahead of time what I want to have happen if we see this alert occur, or if we see this probable hack, and move the funds to safety so we don't have to worry about it. And that can happen effectively almost instantly within seconds.
What if there's a false trigger? If someone or the parameters are wrong, what then?
Yeah. So the nice thing about it is that it moves from being a security issue to being an operational issue. The funds are just going to be moved to an existing wallet you own. So it's basically going to be moved from internal wallet A to internal wallet B. So it's not going to cause a loss of funds. All it's going to do is just move wallets internally for you to a different wallet in different infrastructure, which is different credentials or security around it. So from a risk perspective, it is much, much better because we don't have to worry about an active security breach. And all we have to worry about is making sure that our operations can continue from that other wallet instead.
All right. And you mentioned Terra Luna before, but we also had a case like FTX, where exchanges are they are quite often doing their custody themselves, or they are using a service provider or custody provider like Fireblocks or Copper or any of those solutions. If you're using an exchange, how can I use Circuit or still maintain access to my assets, or is that just simply impossible?
So it depends on the setup for the exchange. Generally, what exchanges will do is they will have an omnibus wallet or a series of different omnibus wallets. So an omnibus wallet is, think of it like a big wallet where lots of users' funds are pooled together. And from a user perspective, you don't know, if there's 100 Bitcoin in it, you don't know which tenor yours or which tenor someone else's. And the exchange is not going to tell you where that wallet is. And they're not going to say, this is your 10. It's like all of it is commingled. And when you want to withdraw it, then we'll figure it out in extraction and bring it out to you. When it's in an omnibus wallet structure, we can't help the user in that case. But what we can do is we can help the exchange. So what we can do is we can help the exchange protect those funds internally from being attacked or from being hacked or from being lost. So that if someone were to come in and, for example, we take the Bybit case, if someone's trying to steal from internal exchange wallets, we can enable that to be protected versus for the user to press the button. If they're using and this is more institutional, if they're using a segregated wallet exchange product, something like a Copper Clearloop, then it is possible to enable Certificate. But if they're using an omnibus wallet where funds are commingled, so if lots of money is being put together and you're not sure which is yours and which is someone else, then it isn't possible for Circuit to work, mainly because the exchange doesn't want to say, hey, this is your $10 in this wallet, and this person's $20, and this person's $10 million. It's just kind of really operationally difficult.